Hi, and welcome to the first Movie Magic video newsletter. Remember how we said at the first movie camp there were 3 reasons for making movies? Documenting, influencing, and expressing. Well, the printed Movie Magic newsletter has been documenting our camp's activities and hopefully influencing you, young movie makers, for the past 3 years. Well, the printed newsletter is a traditional way of communicating information. It occurred to me that why not use the media of movies to do the same sort of thing in its own unique way. And so here we go with the first Movie Magic video newsletter, an experiment in using movies to communicate and teach the very thing we have so much fun doing. We'll still have the printed newsletter, and if this video version works, it will be an additional part of our camp fun. Last summer, a neat movie by J.J. Abrams came out just about when we were doing movie camp. Maybe some of you got to see Super 8, which was about a bunch of kids making their own movie who stumble on a monster. The DVD version of this movie has some interesting background on the director and how he got to go from a movie maker, much like you movie campers, to the big time in Hollywood. Here's an excerpt from that story taken from the DVD.
When I was 8 years old and saw how movies got made, I got very excited about that. And I realized what making movies was, that it was magic. My father had a little GAF Super 8 camera that I didn't have sound, but it was just this little camera, and I just started using it and making little movies, and all week I'd sort of plan what I was going to be shooting on the weekend, and then I just loved convincing my friends to help make these ridiculous movies, and it just sort of became really important really quickly for me. And it was just silly, goofy stuff, typically chase scenes or monster movies or fight scenes or things that I actually still love to do.
Well, JJ and I actually have a mutual history in making 8mm. JJ's case, Super 8, because he's much younger than me. In my case, before Super 8, I made 8mm films when I was growing up, and we had a very, very similar background.
So Matt and I were in the film festival, and the LA Times did a small article about us. And we got a call the next day from Steven Spielberg's office, and it was his assistant, who at the time was Kathy Kennedy, saying, Steven has these movies he made when he was your age, and they're in some sort of disrepair. Would you be available and interested in repairing them? And Matt and I were like, what? I don't know if I were to see an article right now, if I'd think, well, I'll just send the original copies of these films to kids I don't know, who can't even grow beards. Why should I trust them with my movies? So he sends the movies over, Matt and I fix them up, and watching his movies, it was inspiring because there were movies that were kind of like in the same vein as what we were doing. And it was exciting, and it made us feel like, oh, we should keep going. It was kind of an encouraging thing. So we never met Steven during that. But then 6 or 7 years later, I had my first meeting with him, and I just wanted to tell him desperately about this, but I thought, and finally the meeting was over, and I said, listen, I just got to tell you before you go that like 6 years ago, and he's like, no, I know, you edited the movies that I made when I was a kid. I was like, how did you knew that? You knew I was the same guy? He's like, yeah, thank you. And I was like, you're welcome. And then I drove home, and I remember calling Matt and just freaking out that I had met Steven Spielberg finally, and that he knew we did his movies. And I got totally lost. I don't know. I remember I looked up, and I literally had no idea where I was.
So we actually have a history in how we met. I found JJ when he was 14 years old because he cut together all my 8mm home movies. That was his first job.
Wow, that's amazing how J.J. got to meet Spielberg and was propelled into his career. Last summer, we learned about the importance of costumes, props, and sets. This year, movie camp will be from July 16th to 20th, about a week later than usual, but still with plenty of time to enjoy the rest of the summer vacation. We did have some trouble with lost prop bag last year, so this year I have a big cardboard box marked prop box, and we could even have another box if necessary. I'm hoping that you can get together and have your movie ideas thought out before we begin camp. That way, we'll have more time to do the shooting, and if your ideas are developed well enough, we might even have the props and costumes ready on the first day of camp. In the printed newsletter, I suggested that we could communicate by email. I know some of you have your own email accounts, but using your parents' is okay too if they are willing. We'll see how this works out. But the main idea is to get a head start on the movie script and pre-production. You know, the sets, the props, the costumes. So we have more time to do the shooting. Music. In the relighting of Del Palomar, there was a very dramatic soundtrack that brought a lot of emotion to that movie. It was from Lord of the Rings, so of course it was perfect. However, using such music can lead movie makers into trouble if the movie is exhibited to the public. The problem is the copyright laws that protect authors, composers, photographers, and other creative artists from people robbing them of their livelihood. But what if you compose and perform your own musical soundtrack? Then you are the author, and of course it's perfectly legal. In fact, you own the copyright as soon as you make that music. There are music composition and playing computer programs that can be used to make such royalty-free music. Apple's iPad has an app called GarageBand that can even generate and record music with the touch feature of this device. Here is the iPad, and watch how it can make music, or at least sounds that sound somewhat like music. So we turn on the iPad, unlock it, and touch GarageBand. Let's take a look at the instruments. There's a sampler, smart drums, a lot of smart strings, smart bass, a smart keyboard, a smart guitar, and then a regular keyboard, regular drums, a guitar amp, an audio recorder, and we're back to the sampler. We're going to try the smart strings. And when we turn it on, we end up with the chords. We can play the plucking as we hear here. And we can choose our instruments by dropping out the ones that we don't want. Here we just have the bass. Let's add the cello. And the violas. Second violins. And the first violins. We have the entire string orchestra. Now we're going to put it into autoplay. And we can change the tone by changing the chord arrangements. Just changed a different tune in the autoplay. Can you see the possibilities for creating a soundtrack for your movies? Now let's go to individual notes. We're on the cello right now. This is not quite as easy as the autoplay in the chords. There is no autoplay for the individual notes. Here's the bass. Viola. And the violin. You can't put the whole orchestra together playing the notes. You have to do it on each individual note. When we switch over to the track view, we get another option for built-in sound. They're called Apple loops. Here we can choose different types of instruments. Right now, we have the strings. This is about the only place where you can get an entire orchestra, where it says all. You've got the entire orchestra, percussion, strings, woodwinds. This is the stuff that we can make soundtracks with. This is pretty exciting music, and I think it will go well with the movies we make this summer. To make a recording, you just hit the red button. It's right above the little cello symbol up there. We're recording right now. See the red recording indicator getting filled up as we play more and more of this music. To stop recording, just touch the stop button. And now we're playing back what we just recorded. To turn off the metronome, you hit the toolbar, just click to off, and it's gone now. We might be able, if there is time, to create our own soundtracks for the movie this summer with the iPad. If you have an iPad in your family, see if you can bring it to camp so there are more available. Grandpa Tom, that's me, continued to make some new movies after our last movie camp experience. Here are my latest creations from a trip to Argentina and Antarctica. I also had all of my old 8mm movies scanned by a professional service and have put it together into a 75-minute DVD with my commentary. A copy of this DVD is included with this newsletter. I hope you have time to watch it, and I hope you can learn from it and enjoy the efforts. no.
There he comes.
The other
In person. All right.
On a final note, you might be interested in how Grandpa Tom made this video newsletter. Here are some behind-the-scenes shots of the set. Notice the use of the blue screen that allowed the nice backgrounds or the interesting inserts to show behind Grandpa's talking head. Hi, and welcome to the first Movie Magic video newsletter. Remember how we said at the first iMovie camp there were 3 reasons for making movies? Documenting, influencing, and expressing. Well, the printed Movie Magic newsletter has been documenting our camp's activities. Well, that's a wrap for this Movie Magic video newsletter. I'll see you in July for our 4th annual movie camp. Think about the stories, either original or adaptations. Think about the sets, the costumes, and the props. See you July 16th.